Okay, so I'm going to show you a quick little trick that I use with Excel's Powerquery all the time, and it's about dynamically importing files. Okay, so if I've got, let's have a look at one of these example files here. I've got a whole bunch of separate files. This is just some housing data that I got off the internet. If we want to import them, instead of dragging the sheets across, for each one of them into this main spreadsheet. I'll just show you how you go about doing that. Oops. All right, so we want to drag it across like this. When you hold it down and drag it in. So instead of doing that for each one of them, we can actually use this get and transform feature. All right, so I'm going to show you how that looks. So we go to data, we go from text. So in this case, the data source is text, is a text file. We're going to go and locate it. Powerquery demo, CSV files, 2000 file. Okay, so now it's going to bring it in. All right, load it up. Dum 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 dum. All right, and one thing you'll see about this query when I just open it up, it's that it's automatically had this line here, change type. So it's done an auto detect of the column types, and I don't really like it because it means it's going to error out if a new column is added. Oh, well, sorry, if an existing column is taken away or renamed. So it's something I like to remove, and you can make Excel not do it. You've got to go here, down to options, and then to data load, and automatically we're going to turn that off. But that actually you have to do that for every single Excel file that you want that not to be the case for. Okay. The problem with this is that, let's say I go back to the CSV files and I change the location of where I'm storing it, or we're working on someone else's computer and their file directory location isn't the same. So now when I go to refresh this query, it's going to error out, can't find the location. So one thing I like to do is we can do this. We can go file name 1. We're going to call this cell file name 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to place the path of that file. Now I'm holding down Control and Shift and right clicking, copy as path, put that there. And I like to make this cell yellow. Okay, so this is a cell now that has a name. It's file name 1. So what I want to go now is I want to make a new function. All right, so from other sources, blank query, and we're going to call this query get value. Now I like to make sure it's camel case, so capital G, capital V. And what are we going to put in here? So we need to go into the advanced editor and specify what we want this this function to do. And I always just go power query get value. Yep. And it's the first option it always is. So it's some Stack Overflow question. And that is the code that we want to, gotta get it all, copy. And we want to paste it into the entirety of this function. Okay. So now we go back to original non-working query. We want to change the location here. And we want to give it file, what do we call it? Location 1? Or did I call it file name 1? I forget. We want to wrap this in the function get value. All right. So when I hit enter now, okay, it must have been file name. So this is the cell. Yep. So there we go. So now, if we save it and close it, now if we go ahead and move this CSV data to a different directory, so now we've moved it back to the start, it's not going to work, of course. It's going to break. But to remedy it, we can go to the file, right click, Control Shift C, and copy as path, and then just paste it in there. All right, and now the query will work. All right, but we can actually do one better than that. All right, so what we could do is we could say Bear with me, file name. This one can be called cell name. Alright. So the file name is actually 2000 file.csv, isn't it? Alright. And what is the path? Okay, we can see it actually in the current location. So the path is going to be CSV files, and then we got to make sure we have that added to it. And then how do we get this the file location of this very sheet? All right, so we're gonna do a relative location via a formula. So I'm gonna go equals cell, and we want the file name, and I want the reference to be A1. Okay, so what does that give us? Well, at the moment it gives us nothing because we haven't saved this document. So Control S to save it, and I'm gonna save it into the same folder. So at the very top of the folder is book 2. All right, so now it's gone ahead and saved itself. So if I hit enter, it just refreshes it. Okay, so we're going to use a formula that uses the current file path and then the lower down folder to determine this value here, the actual file location. Okay, so what we're going to do is going to go equals find. And we're looking for that square bracket that starts the file name. Inside there, boom. Then we're going to go left of this cell. We want that many characters -1. All right, so there we go. And then we want to combine this with the file name. Oh wait, no, the path first, and then the file name there. All right, so there they should be identical. Equals that, true, good. So let's go through now and just compile all the data into one cell. I wonder if there's a quick way of doing this. So that is D20. Cool, so that formula is what we really want to put inside this file here. There we go, and then we can go ahead and delete this. Cool. I must have missed something. So I want the D14. There we go. Okay, so that's, I must have, when I was putting all the cells together. So now this is only utilizing these 3 cells, which is great. So we don't need those. And if we go back to our query, refresh, it's working fine. So the reason why this is beneficial, why you would go through all this effort, is that now, if we change the folder once again and put it back in data, so obviously that query is not going to work. Yep. But all we need to change is just this folder here. And then now it's going to work again. Oh. CSV files data, did we put it in? Data. Oh, whoops, I got it the wrong way around. Now it should work. I'll just do it here, refresh. Yeah, so it works. So it's a lot of effort for one file, but as you know, in that folder, we've got multiple different files, all right? So how would we go about importing all of those files together? Now there is a way to do it automatically, using this from folder query, and that is going to go ahead and import all the files inside the folder. Oh, one sec, there it is. Data query, yep. So that this will work, but there's just more places. I'll show it to you so you can see what it looks like. Combine and edit. So what it's actually doing is it's looking at one file and to determine the column structure. Here it is here. And it's applying that column structure to all the other files that it's importing, and then just stacking them on top of each other, which is totally fine. But what it means is that you're going to have to go through and track down all the instances where the path is referenced, and the file name might change. It's just a few too many things to go and alter and use our get value function to change dynamically. So what I like to do is I like to just discard that because we don't want to keep anything. Cool. So we can just now that we've got everything all set up, we can actually just go ahead and let's have a look how many files. So 15 files. So let's scroll down. Oh, all right. So, and I wonder if we can drag this down. I don't think it's gonna. Oh, it did. Wow, wait, that's pretty cool. And then this formula, if we drag that down, actually I might make that A1 if I press F4. Whoops, I'm gonna do it function F4 on this computer. Yep. So that's gonna make that be static, but we also want to make this one static as well. That's E4 function F4. Yep. So if I drag this down, that's great. What hasn't dragged down is this cell reference stuff. So I'm just going to go through, copy, tab, paste, copy, tab, paste. I might even fast forward this bit, because we need to have all these cell names so that the get value function works. Nearly there. And the last one. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to duplicate this query 14 times or 13 times more. So what we can do is just go duplicate, 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 oops, duplicate, 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 duplicate. My hand isn't getting sore at all. Duplicate. All right, and then all that we're going to need to change in each of these queries is this thing here. File name 2, file name 3, file name 4. Might even speed this up. I shouldn't have had so many files. Maybe I could have split them into fewer files. 6, yep. 7, so we're halfway there. That should have been 8, I think. Or 9. Ooh. Have I missed one? I don't know. 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Did 7 twice. 8, 9. This makes it a tiny bit easier. Just adding 10, 11. So just doing this, I am realizing that yeah, there is the room for error if you punch in the wrong number at this point. So just have to focus. Focus. 14, done. All right, so when I do this, bam, 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 it's created all those queries and imported all those files. Now, this is the only sheet we really want to keep. We don't really want to have different sheets for each one of those queries. So I'm going to delete them all. Delete. So now all the queries are just connections to that file. And I want to make a new query. So I'm going to go up to data, get data, combine queries, append. And I'm going to 3 or more, and I'm going to select everything. Okay, and that's just going through, and it is appending all those files, and that's the table I actually want. Cool. And I might go ahead and do some sort of, setting data types for these columns now at this point with the data all together. And let's just check that we've got all the numbers: 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yes, that sounds right. 14. Okay, so I forgot one, all right, but we can add that in now just by duplicating that one. Source and make it 15. And then we want to go to the append, and we want to add in that extra. 15 added in, boom, save it. Let's get out of there. All right, so now, and it's probably going to give me one extra query. Oh no, it's not. Yeah, so now we've got all the years of our data all together. And what I would actually do, if I was doing more complex query work after this, well, first of all, I just I put all these, move to group, import. I put all those together so it's a bit neater. And then if I was doing queries upon this data, I'd actually reference this table, I wouldn't reference the query, because I wouldn't want to be re-importing each of these files for the subsequent queries. So I'd actually just do data and then from table, and then start doing my data wrangling, whatever that was, like change this type to a date. Oh well, that's not my fault. we'd have to like oh, I don't know, we'd have to round it or something. Transform, change type, maybe date time, maybe that would work. Oh well, that's something else to work on. Good old Excel and dates, eh? Anyway, so that's what I'd use for my subsequent queries. Yep, but the point of it is that now if we go ahead and we move this file location out and change it, or go to a different computer, obviously this query is going to break. There it is, it's broken. But all we need to change now is just this section here, and it should work fine. Yeah, just ignore it. Ah, firewall, hey? This is sort of a privacy setting of Excel that's a bit annoying, and I think there is a way to turn it off, and I'll just, as far as I can remember, it might be over here, query options. Good thing it popped up. Privacy, and we want to always ignore privacy level settings. Let's see if that works now. Yeah, okay, happy. I think the privacy level settings are more for external connections, so not so relevant in this case. All right, so that was my summary. Bit lengthy, but yeah, a 20-minute summary on a cool tip to use with Powerquery. All right, catch you later. Bye.